Nico, back in the hot seat. Gary was keen to share the load amongst the first team staff. So here you are on press duties today.
Yeah, no, I think we had that discussion. I think it's important that with these things, people know it's a team effort, and we spoke about it when we'd lost a couple of games, and obviously it wouldn't look great if he wheeled one of us out and stuck us down here when we'd not won a couple. But it's important it becomes the norm. You know, we're behind the scenes working together. Gary, as the manager, is always going to be the kind of head of that spear, and he's always going to take the heat when things go on. But we're all in this together. We're all working hard, pulling in the same direction like that, and so we should get the opportunity, or you get the opportunity, so maybe to grill us in this position. And I think it's good for us, and it's good for the club, and hopefully it's good for the fans to see a different face and hear a different voice as to how things are being done. And
how is assistant manager life? You enjoying it?
Loving it. Yeah, loving it. If I'm being honest, I wasn't sure how I would work as an assistant. You know, I've been lucky enough to do the manager's job. But I think that probably comes down to credit to Gary. He's very, very good at delegation. He'll empower his staff to have a voice and to have ideas. And generally speaking, we'll then sit down without ego and pick the best of them. If that happens to be Dave Perkins' idea or mine or the manager, absolutely no problem. What we want is a kind of rich pot of ideas to go to, and then be able to pick the best. And I think that's only going to work out for the players and what they're trying to do.
How's training been this week? I imagine lots of positivity given that performance at Wycombe last weekend.
Yeah, the lads are in a good place. I mean, the general thing for us is to highlight how well they're doing in a lot of areas and how far they've come in a lot of ways, but also that there's a long way to go. It's not, let's sit in this room here, look at clips as we do and go through the analysis of it and then pat each other on the back and say that's great. The fact is we played well, but we didn't win. We cannot become one of these teams where everybody talks about how well they play, but they don't win many games. We've got to make sure that we take the next step in our evolvement and our evolution. And I think we are getting there, but there's always going to be a way to go. There are always things that you can iron out. There's always things you can get better at. And for us, we're now starting to see a build-up play that we're starting to be happy with. We're starting to see timing and rotations and players playing with a freedom that we're really happy with. But the final third now is where those guys have got to go out and be brave to express themselves, brave to lose the ball, brave to go 1v1 and get past people. And they're the things that excite fans, and they're the things that excite us. Our job really to get them up there with a bit more control, and then their job to go out there and show everybody what they're about and what they can do.
This weekend we face Lincoln, who have got a peculiar record this season, a very hard side to beat, not lost the same amount of games as the top three, I think, but then they seem to have drawn 18 or 19 games this season. How do we tackle them?
Yeah, I say they're a tough nut to crack. They're going to be difficult to beat because they don't lose many games. They're well structured, they're well organised, they've got guys who understand what they're doing. They are difficult to beat, as the stats will tell you. And they have got threats up front. They don't score too many, they don't concede too many, but they are a danger. I think, like a lot of teams in this league, on their day, they're capable of beating anybody, and we need to make sure we get the balance right between going out, exciting our fans, getting on the front foot and embracing the challenge of breaking them down. But at the same time, we need to be secure at the back. We can't just go all out and hope that things go our way. And I think from our point of view now, we're getting far better in terms of controlling games, far better in terms of our possession stats and looking after the ball. But like the manager said, possession for the sake of possession is a waste of time. We want control and we want to know how we're going to go about things, but it's about scoring goals. And I think we're close to really opening a team up and putting a few past them, but that's what we're working on every day out there on the training pitch, is that final bit, getting into those areas where the goals will come and getting those players used to hitting the back of the net.
Lincoln played in midweek, or played on Tuesday away at Cheltenham. Is it perhaps in the same way, I think I said the same to Gary when we played Cambridge, about finding that extra energy given that they played midweek and we didn't?
I would say whether they didn't or not, we're at home. We've, I think, got to be better at dictating tempo. So at home, for me, we should come out the traps and really go at teams. We should really let them know that it's been a long trip and they're in for a tough day. I think sometimes we can slow things down when we don't need to. You know, it's probably comes with a bit more experience as we start to build players' game understanding and how many games they've played. But it's important to dictate tempo. It's important to make sure that things are fast and quick, because we've got fast and quick players. We've got mobile players that want to go on the front foot and play. And we don't particularly enjoy the slow, bitty, broken up games that you can get. And if you're an away team, you're probably trying to do that. So it's the beauty of football, ebb and flow, you know, trying to impose yourself on the opposition and trying to take away what they do well. And Lincoln will be sat up there probably having their press meeting today talking about how we're quick and mobile, and it's their job to nullify that threat and then use what they've got to hurt us the other end. So the beauty of the game.
In terms of squad availability, any fresh concerns ahead of this one?
There's a couple of little niggles that we're just waiting on. We're not sure whether they'll be ready or not for the weekend, but generally speaking, we are fully fit, ready to go, and people are fighting for starting places.
Carl Taylor's obviously been out for quite a long time, and unfortunately it sounds like he's had a bit of a setback in his recovery.
Yeah, I mean, it was a horrific injury that Carl suffered, and it's just really a case of us making sure that we do everything we can to get him fully fit and back. I think with anything like that, there's always going to be a few bumps in the road. It wasn't a straightforward injury. We need to make sure that we look after him first and foremost as a person, and medically do everything we can to get him back where he wants to be. So he's a positive lad. He's a good character around the place. It's really tough for anybody when you're out for that length of time. I think you can almost fade into the background a little bit and feel like you're not a part of it. So it's up to us to make sure we try and keep him involved and keep him upbeat. But he's a really good lad, and I would expect that he'll attack any setbacks with the same kind of positivity that he attacked the initial injury.
Finally, this weekend is a dedicated Her Game 2 weekend for the football club, with the women playing on Sunday. You've got daughters yourself who've obviously been around that football environment in some way. It's important, you know, that we make sure that women are comfortable in football and, you know, get rid of sexism, basically.
No, absolutely. The irony is my boys want to come and watch the game, but my little girl just got no interest in football whatsoever. So I'm going to be there for that. I'm going to bring my family along. I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, my first focus is going to be Saturday, but it'd be great if we could have an all-round Exeter City positive experience over the weekend.